Hello, everybody. Welcome to February. It was the longest January ever, wasn't it? Some people said, welcome to January 74th. Or it felt like we're still in a coma from Christmas holidays. It's been a funny month. A month. I didn't mind it that the energy was sort of slow. It allowed me to really rest, and I hope it did for you as well. It's not often that the energy is that sort of calm and slow, and hopefully it allowed you some good inner reflection time or rest time or playful time or just hopefully you enjoyed that. Excuse me. So let's take a look at the general energy for February. So February, I feel, is going to be a little bit faster than January, but still not quite that feeling of the energy kicking in for the rat. Doesn't mean February won't have things that are eventful. I'm talking about the overall vibe or the pace of the month. As we just said, January sort of felt like a big nap, oh, I've got time, I don't feel like it, don't want to do this. Let's just rest. Let's something just, or if you weren't resting and tired and you just sort of had this sense of room and space. And February, I'm feeling that we're going to see more things happening on the global stage, more international news. I mean, relevant, like bigger stories or bigger things happening internationally. As I don't get anything specific. I don't really want to comment on political stuff or news or health scares or anything predictively online. Sorry. It's more the overall feeling and the pace of the month that I'm getting. It's still going to feel a little slow. It picks up slowly, sort of like January wasn't quite standing still, maybe, but like a slow walk, February might be just like it's a little bit faster. I'm getting the message that it's really March before we feel this sense of like, and the horses are off, run, like a quick, like a switch going on, and people sort of feeling kicked into action and to being very, very busy this year. Very busy. But I think like exciting busy for a lot of people. So for now, I'd say enjoy this time, enjoy this pace, and prepare yourself for that sprint. When things pick up, what do you need to have in order? What won't you have time to do if it suddenly gets really busy again? So to use February to do that stuff now, like, depends on your where you're located. But let's say, for example, your typical tax season is the springtime. Ours here is like end of April in Canada. So maybe you want to just get your taxes all organized. Maybe you want to go through and organize your space, your closets. Maybe there's some creative work or a book you haven't been able to dig into yet. Stuff you're not going to have time for once it gets really busy. I'm just going to pull cards for the month of February just to add to what I'm getting and see if it gives me any more details. So here we go. So the first card I'm getting is the Five of Wands. The second card is the Eon or Judgment in other decks. And Four of Pentacles or the Power card. This year is a 4-year. 2020, if you add the digits, it's a 2 and a 2, so it adds up to a 4. However, it can also be looked at as a 22-4. Now, these cards would suggest that there's some things that are ending or that might need to end, and there's a big decision to make, and then you will be putting yourself in a much stronger, more stable or powerful position. So February could be the time where you start to feel this perhaps pressure to let go of situations or people, or could even just be your old negative habits or thought patterns. Something that is getting in the way and causing strife. This card says strife. So strife is when everybody, there's too many cooks in the kitchen. It's too many people struggling and trying to prove something and fighting, arguing, aggravating each other. There's too many things rubbing the wrong way. So if that's just you, yourself and you, that could be a feeling of, inner demons, or a feeling of being torn over multiple people or multiple decisions, or, your desire to be positive in your outlook versus your cynicism about life, let's say. It can be anything that's just been, it's rubbing. That's the strife card. And so if that's you within yourself, you need to come to sort of letting go decision, or that's what I'm going to call it. I call this a day. This is what I believe happened. This is how I feel about that. This is where I stand on this. This is what I deeply believe, and that's okay. So it could be on that internal level. If it's an external level and there's frictions around you and people are just grinding each other at work, or, your love life, or your neighbors, or whoever, your colleagues, you're going to need to make a decision to let go or change the way you interact with them dramatically. The Eon or the Judgment card in other decks means you take a step forward and you decide. And nothing and nobody's going to come along and tell you, or be a sign from it's coming from you. It has to come from you. So if you've struggled with anything for a long time internally or externally, now's the month to take a judgment call, to call it a day. Say, that's what it is. That's where I stand. That's what I want. That's who I am. It's a good thing. It's a moment of power, empowering yourself, being honest, and letting this friction and the striving stop. You end off with the Power card, 4 of discs, which, as I said, this year is a 22 or a 4. The 22, if you use that 22 and break it down as 2, there's 2 2s in there as a 22. Some numerologists work that way and some don't. I do. To me, if there's a master number in there to be found, I think it should be validated, because they're more rare, and they elevate you. They elevate the energy. So if there's one in there, then I use it. So to me, 22 year. If you use 2020 as a 22 year, it's a time of thinking big and making bigger plans, and visioning projects or long-term goals that are far beyond just yourself. This is the kind of time when you want to have a vision of what could be noble, what could be a legacy, what could you do, or how could you do something that fulfills your own dream and also gives or benefits other people. If you're in the 4, it's still a good number. It's powerful. It's usually good for financial stability. It's the Chinese consider the 4 the number of death, so they don't like it so much. 4s can also be 4s can also make you feel like you're sort of stuck in the grind, the routines but you will have your stability within them and your security. You might feel stuck or bored, though. It all depends on you. If you find a way to be in that stability, in that routine where you're enjoying it, then it's a great place to be, way to feel. And if you're feeling stuck or bored, then obviously not. I would say try to think about the 22 aspect. Try to stretch yourself and think about how you can benefit others with your own goals. How can it be a win-win? So February, the energy picks up the pace a little bit, but we still have time to be processing these situations of strife and inner friction. And we still have some decisions about letting go before we hit that power stride. And we still maybe have some meditating and manifesting to do for our visions, for our long-term visions. So obviously February will have its share of eventful things happening in the world that we will be affected by, hearing about. But as I said, I don't feel the pace is going to really change for the busy until March. So stay tuned. If you want to look, if you are interested in my work and you like these videos and you want to get Tarot of the Week that's extended like we're going to do now, I do a weekly one that is an extended Tarot of the Week, and I do extended videos for every sign. So you might want to look below and subscribe to me on Patreon. Otherwise, stay tuned for your individual signs. And if you want to really be accurate, you should take a look at your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign, and see a combination of those predictions will give you a good idea what's coming for your month. And if you want to reach me for sessions, it's Clairvoyant Medium Catherine Allen on Facebook or Patreon, Catherine River Rain on Instagram, and my website is www.river-rain.com. All right, stay tuned.